Hello! Today, in your art studio, we are going to learn how to create a ball of yarn from a skein of yarn. Often students ask me, why do we need to turn that into a ball? So today I'll answer that question as well as show you a simple way to turn a skein of yarn into a ball of yarn. So a skein of yarn, this is how you get it at the store. And to be honest, I'm not sure why it is sold this way instead of this way, but it is. So when you buy a skein of yarn, the end, usually there's an end here as well as along the side somewhere. This is the one that I use to start to make a ball of yarn from. But you can see the skein is like floppy and it really easily tangles. So if you're trying to pull the yarn off to do your work, it really can tangle up very quickly. Not to mention if you're trying to store the yarn with a bunch of other colors of yarn, it just becomes a giant tangly mess. Exhibit A. This poor sad yarn is an example of a skein of yarn that was not turned into a ball. So now, if anyone wants to use this, they have to take like probably 20 minutes to detangle the disaster. I don't recommend it. Another great thing about a ball of yarn is that you can, well, first of all, it does not tangle easily because it is a ball and it's nice and tight and firm, not floppy. It's far more difficult to tangle this all up. And you can easily put it into a container or a bag, and you can pull the yarn off of there as you need to use it, and it comes very simply and nicely along with you. All right, so for today's video, we're going to turn this into a ball of yarn. Find the end. The first thing that I do is just wrap it around two of my fingers for a while. In the beginning, it's going to look a little bit messy, but that's okay. This is the last part of yarn that will be used, and it will not be easy to tangle. So when I have a good sort of, don't make it too tight. You don't want to cut off your circulation. But when you've got a good chunk of yarn like this, you slide it off your fingers, grip it, and then go in the other direction. Now becomes the time where you want to create more of a ball shape. I do that by folding these over in on themselves and then going in that direction. Once the ball is big enough, you want to start to rotate the parts you are covering. So as I go, I'll start to shift. And rotate. So I'm covering one section of the yarn ball, and then I sort of shift and continue to cover the next area. After you make a couple of them, it starts to get really fast and become pretty speedy work. So at this point, you can see the ball is actually a ball. And from here on, it's pretty simple. It's just the same action. You're always going to be covering the next area. Oops. So you're always constantly moving slightly to the side of the last string. This yarn is good because it's color changing yarn. You can actually really see what I'm doing. And then shift a little more. So basically you just keep changing a little bit as you go along the whole time. The larger the ball gets, the faster it goes, and the faster that you'll see, like, each time you go around, as the ball is bigger, it just seems to go quicker and quicker, and before you know it, it'll be finished. The beginning is the part that is most challenging and needs the most explanation. You see, I'm just using my fingers to hold it still while I go around the next time. I'm going to do that each time. So I actually just threw, like, the whole skein onto the floor because that's the simplest way to keep it going. Okay, so here we are close to the end. And there's the skein, what's left of the skein, the ball, nice and round, nice and firm, and nearly done. Even doing it this way toward the end, you can run into some tangles and you just have to gently work them out. Again, this is why we make a ball of yarn and we don't keep it as a skein. Oh, almost done. Voila. And then the end of the string, you can tuck it underneath if you want to. But sometimes if you're sharing a studio, that makes it hard for the next person to find. So what we do here is we just leave it. It's a grippy enough yarn that it just stays there, and then whoever wants to use it takes it from storage. But, oh, there's the end. And they begin whatever their project is. Thanks for watching. Happy yarn ball making.